There are exactly 91 days until James Bond returns to the big screen in No Time to Die, a movie that was supposed to have come out 450 days ago. To celebrate Daniel Craig's final time playing 007, we're going to be posting weekly James Bond reviews over at the Defunct Games website. That's right, between now and the movie's October release date, Bond aficionado Adam Wallace will be writing about some of the best and worst spy games ever made, starting with James Bond 007 on the Atari 2600. And to get you in the mood for this long-delayed review series, I want to talk about one of my favorite spy games, a little-played gem called S.P.Y, Special Project Y. This is a Konami classic from 1989 that effortlessly shifts between beat-em-up action and third-person shooting. Turn back now if you don't want to know what happens next, because today we're going to be spoiling the story and ending for S.P.Y, Special Project Y. This is Game Over, the early years. Uh-oh. When the leader of an evil organization steals a nuclear warhead and threatens peace, the world's greatest spy straps into a superpowered jetpack and speeds right towards what I'm gonna call Spider Island. Is that its real name? No, probably not. But considering that the game makes no effort naming any of the locations or the villains or the evil organization or hell, even the super spy hero, I'm forced to be a little bit creative this episode. Once he lands on Spider Island, he's immediately surrounded by an army of purple jumpsuit-wearing soldiers. There's no time to search the village for clues because bad guys are coming from all sides. And they don't stop until you get to the front gate of the compound, where one of the leader's mysterious henchmen jumps out of a helicopter and starts smacking our hero with his gun. Fake Bond eventually comes out on top thanks to his gadgets, but he still has a long driveway to run in order to infiltrate that mansion. This is made so much worse when a helicopter hovers overhead while dropping out dozens of enemy guards. Seriously, how many purple soldiers fit in that thing? Now, inside the mansion, we get even more soldiers, as well as our first glimpse at the evil organization's spider logo. And if that wasn't bad enough, the long hallway leads directly to a one-on-one battle against a martial arts expert with a staff. We win, obviously, but the mysterious leader is ready with Plan B and blows up his whole fancy-ass mansion. The good news is that the super spy is able to jetpack his way to the nearby mountain base. Of course, the bad news is that it's teaming with enemies. On a bit of a side note, this is probably the closest the game comes to one of my favorite games, Rolling Thunder. But look, there's no time to talk about those two games right now because this heavily armored Jeep with a frickin' laser beam is the only thing that stands in the way of our hero stealthily sneaking into the silo in order to disarm the bomb. This is the point where the action gets kicked up a notch. In order to find the nuclear missile, the spy will need to run through a bunch of corridors in what is easily the most exciting part of the game. It's a maze filled with a wide assortment of enemies, cars, laser fields, and pretty much everything else the evil organization can throw at us. And you know what? It actually makes a lot of sense, seeing as our very next stop is right next to the missile. This is a brutal fight that forces our hero to slowly climb the silo, revealing that the nuke is called the ESBM-21. They've also conveniently put their spider logo right on the missile, which is one of those dumb moves that Bond villains always do just out of pure ego. Hey, speaking of Bond villains, it turns out that the mysterious leader's main henchman is none other than Jaws. I'm not even joking, look at that guy. It turns out that he's protecting the leader, who is able to escape thanks to his jet-powered chair. So then, what does that mean for the spy? Well, I don't think you're gonna like the answer, because it means that we're gonna have to go all the way back to the very beginning and play through every single level all over again. Yeah, Ghosts and Goblins style. Look, there's no reason to show you all this again, so instead, let's fast forward to the point where fake Bond is fighting fake Jaws. As it turns out, the leader's actually prepared this time with a deadly bomb. But don't worry, because he's immediately dropped by a single punch, and this is what happens next. Both as a concept and an action game, S.P.Y has a lot going for it. I love how it keeps bouncing between the different genres, constantly taking us to cool set pieces with interesting boss fights. I also like the idea of the main villain escaping, throwing a wrench in the hero's plans. What I don't like is pretty much everything after that. Replaying the entire game again feels cheap and only highlights the fact that the handful of stages take no more than 20 minutes to beat. If you're gonna make us replay the stages, then it's up to the developer to find ways of making them feel fresh and new the second time around. They didn't bother doing any of that here, just like they opted against naming any of the heroes or locations or villains or anything. Konami really could have done a lot more with this setup. Still, I like the variety of stages and the fact that it basically has a classic James Bond ending. I would have been up to seeing more adventures with this character, especially if they continue to take influences from the 007 movies. But sadly, this is the one and only outing for the nameless spy. So I guess that means that he sailed off into the sunset surrounded by beautiful women in bathing suits and lived happily ever after? Maybe he had the right idea after all. Hey, thanks for watching this bonus episode of Game Over, the early years. If you liked what you saw here, then you should know that we post new episodes almost every week. There's a whole playlist with over 130 episodes. You should go check it out. Now, here's the question I have for you. What is your favorite spy game? Oh man, there's so many to choose from, and that's before you even start considering the Bond games. Let me see your picks in the comments below. I also want to go ahead and reiterate that we'll be posting new 007 reviews every Friday leading up to No Time to Die's October release. You can find the review of James Bond 007 on the Atari 2600 over at the Defunct Games website right now. And I'll go ahead and leave the link in the comments below just to help you out a little bit. Let me tell you, Adam did a great job with this review series, so please do me a favor and show him some love. In the meantime, I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then,